Why should I care? I figure Google and Facebook knows everything about everybody. Anyway, I figure the teenage boy across the street could be picking up the stuff I sent. The cork's out of the bottle. What difference does it make?
This goes back to kind of that nothing to hide argument, which is like, I lead a very ordinary life. I watch my shows, I go to work, I take care of my family. Yeah, I'm weird. Yeah, I look at porn. You know, if we're talking about the average person on the internet, everybody looks at porn, right? It's happened. Even if you don't want to, there's a pop-up ad somewhere. It's in your history. But the reality is most people do, and they want to. And that's not strange. People, particularly Americans, feel an enormous sense of shame about this, but it's a tremendously common activity. At the same time, it makes us feel uncomfortable. You know, for a lot of us, as if our family knew everything that we looked up on the internet, we would worry about how they would look at us. If, you know, every company in the world knew everything that you looked at, we would feel uncomfortable with it. But then what happens when your workplace knows? What happens when your government knows? And who decides what is normal, what's acceptable, and what's not, right? We can do things that are very common today, or we can have positions or interests that are very uncommon today, but harmless. In a free society, we are allowed to be different. We are allowed to be weird. We can be strange as long as we're not hurting anyone else. But laws change, social mores change, the norms shift. And once we are entered into this system, where everything we've ever done, everything we were ever interested in, everything we've ever bought, everywhere we've ever gone, everywhere that we have, or anyone that we have ever talked to, is instantly captured at the moment it happens and memorialized in some database somewhere just waiting to be used. It will be used. And we already see this happening in places like China, right? We don't want to emulate China, where we have a social credit system, where things that you do which are harmless, which aren't hurting anyone, but institutions or railways or airlines or the Communist Party that sweeps into power or is already in power decides is disfavored and should be penalized, should be disincentivized. Now you can no longer get a job. Now you have to wait, and go to the local police station to get a pass to be able to travel and visit your family. We cannot anticipate these things. And the problem is that I have with this idea of argument is that we should have to prepare for it, that we should think and constrain our intellectual curiosity, and even, frankly, our weirdnesses, our distinctions, our differences, our weirdness, the things that place us in the minority, because we could potentially someday be judged on the basis for it, even if we have done nothing wrong, even if it wasn't strange, because the definition of what is wrong is constantly changing.
If Google's got it and Facebook has it, why is it so much worse that our government has it?
This is a great question. There's two ways that this is typically responded to. One, and this is one that I used myself many years before, is that, well, the difference is Google can sell you a different pair of shoes on the basis of what it knows about you, right? The ads that it places on the side of your bar. But they can't put you in jail. They can't bomb you, right? The government can, and for a lot of people, the government does. The second thing, which I think is actually more interesting, it requires a little bit more technical understanding of how these programs are implemented, but not so much that I think it loses even a general audience. Google knows an incredible amount about an incredible number of people, but it is still finite. There are things that they do not know. Google does not necessarily know what you bought on Amazon. Google does not necessarily know what you liked on Facebook. Google does not necessarily know what you posted on Instagram. Facebook knows what you posted on Instagram because they own that, right? Amazon knows what you bought on this, but they don't know what you sent in your email. It's on Google because it's a Gmail account, right? There are silos in industry that, even if they're very large, still limit what these different companies know, the maximum domain of their understanding of you as an individual and us broadly as a population. Government, however, through its coercive authorities in these kind of systems, is able to look into each of these different silos and then collate them together. They see everything that Facebook sees, as well as everything that Google sees, as well as everything that Amazon sees, as well as everything that your phone provider sees, as well as everything that your airline provider has in terms of your travel history, and so on and so forth to an extraordinary extent. There are no limitations placed on this beyond their appetite and willingness to pursue these silos and find a way into them.